This week, I'm pulling pints in London, we're seeing what's trending in travel online, and Rajan's getting all presidential in Texas. As summer approaches, London once again heaves with tourists, some of whom want a taste of something iconically British. The Japanese have their tea ceremonies, the French have their fine wines, and we Brits have this. The thing about real ale is it's an acquired taste. I mean, I thoroughly recommend it to anybody who comes here, but you might want to have a plan B just in case. Ooh, that looks lovely. Would it be possible to have it in a hollowed out coconut? But has Britain's national drink had its day? Well, its chief supporter thinks maybe. The campaign for real ale says traditional pubs are closing at an alarming rate, around 30 a week. Not only that, but the Great British Pint is being challenged by the rise and rise of a fizzier and fruitier little number. This is what I love about London. There's always something exciting going on in the streets. Now I'm in Bermondsey in southeast London, which has been renamed Beermondsey, because underneath these railway bridges, there's a revolution brewing. In 2009, the first microbrewery opened its doors here, and since then, 5 more have popped up following the railway line. In fact, there are now said to be 1,500 small breweries in the UK, more than anywhere else per head in the world. And many of these are not brewing traditional real ale, they're making craft beer. U-Brew opened 2 years ago, and it claims to be the first and only open brewery where you can come along and make your own. So Matt, for a relative novice like me, what's the difference between craft beer and real ale?
Absolutely. So for us, craft beer is about innovation, quality, and trying new things. Real ale is really about how it's stored. It's stored inside of a cask and fermented naturally or re-fermented naturally inside of a cask. It's a saison made with passion fruit and then dry hopped with passion fruit. It's nice and chilled. Give it a try.
Okay, passion fruit beer. Here we go.
What do you think?
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That is really nice. It's tasty.
Absolutely.
It goes down really smooth as well.
It's a French yeast being brewed by British brewers and then adding in tropical fruits from the tropics. So it makes this incredible beer.
So is this, and all that we see around us, is this the death of real ale?
It's probably it's a challenge for real ale. We've brewed some real ale here. Beer is beer, and people are always going to be excited about beer. And some people are still going to like those real ale and those cask ales. And you'll still meet those hardcores for sure. I wouldn't say it's the death, but it's a big challenge for them for sure.
The truth is, there's no fixed definition of craft beer. It can be virtually indistinguishable from real ale. Would you like to do a taste comparison between real ale and some craft lager?
Okay.
Yes?
No, yes.
Oh, you don't like it?
No.
No? That's an interesting face you're pulling there.
No.
No? Right, this is new craft beer, which everyone's saying is the future. But it tends to be made on a small scale and bottled, and it often comes with a younger, funkier image. This is the real ale, this stuff in the front, so if you want to take a little bit each. Ah, nice. What do you say in Finland?
Kippis.
Kippis.
Yes.
It is quite good. Quite good.
Definitely great, you love that.
Yeah. It's a really good fresh beer.
Oh, good fresh beer, that's quintessentially British. How does it taste? What do you think? Would you like to try some? So that's
Lovely.
There's still a lot of affection for real ale. Even the Chinese premier wanted a taste of real ale on his last visit. Xi Jinping was photographed in a pub drinking a pint, after which exports of Indian pale ale to China soared by 1,600%. Sometimes what you want on your travels is authenticity, and there's nowhere more authentic than my next stop. And specialist pubs like this one here in North London have become a destination in their own right. Okay, it's time for a quick pint. Lovely. It may not look like much, but the Brie Louise is award-winning and always busy with people who really know their beer. Its future is currently in doubt, as it's earmarked for demolition when building work begins on the new HS2 high-speed rail link to Birmingham. Is there a craft beer revolution? Is there something going on that's affecting you guys?
Absolutely. Craft beer is a revolution, and it's making everyone evolve and revolve with it.
Ale, isn't it just like really bitter and very like stodgy? And I mean, why would a young person want to drink that?
You've got everything from hoppy, malty, stout, mild porter, the caramel macchiato, squid ink IPA, things with fruits, toffee. I've got a honey mild on at the moment. They're all over the place.
So we've got a little bit of a surprise for you. Craig, meet Matt. Matt, Craig, Matt, sit down. This is Matt from New Brew in Bermondsey. Matt,
Hey Matt, how are you?
Good to meet you.
Good to see you.
Surprise for you guys.
Yeah. So Matt has brought along some craft beer,
Yep,
and we want you to have a little sample of it and
Absolutely.
see whether you what you think of the amber nectar.
okay, let's do that.
Up yours. Oh, that's a professional.
That's absolutely fabulous. Really is fabulous.
That's really interesting. So you're not against it, or?
No, not at all. No, I'll drink bottled craft beer where I can't find good cask ale, absolutely.
Beer is beer, and passionate, innovative brewers, that's beer. And these are made by the same people that make these. So good beer will always prevail.
I think I'll leave those two to bond. And you know what? There's nothing like a British beer in a traditional British boozer to bring people together. Now, if you're looking to wet your whistle on the road and you're old enough and you're happy to drink responsibly, here's some trips to look out for. The coolest vodka on the planet has to be Iceberg Vodka, which is literally made from icebergs in Canada. Take a boat along the Newfoundland coast and taste some of the purest water on the planet. Then when you're back ashore, try a shot of something stronger. The makers claim the iceberg water makes the vodka taste better. Staying in Britain, where it's boom time for makers of boutique gins. This company in West London takes you through the history of gin and the flavourings that go into its drinks, with a glass in your hand, of course. If that's not enough, you can follow it up with a gin-themed meal at a nearby pub, with more gin tasting on the side. Lovely. Or take time in Paris to try Absinthe the traditional way. There's a ritual to drinking it properly, dripping iced water over a sugar cube and letting it drip into your glass. Forget anything you've heard about absinthe giving you hallucinations. It doesn't. But be careful, it's still pretty potent stuff. Still to come on the travel show. We round up some of the latest virals as we find out what's trending in travel on the web. And Rajan's in Texas finding out why JFK's final hours are being immortalised in opera. So don't go away. The Travel Show, your essential guide wherever you're heading.
Hello and welcome to Trending Travel, where we explore what's hot online in the world of travel. I'll be bringing you through those essential apps, videos and blogs to take with you when you leave home.
Our top social media stories this month begin in Iran. Images of female tourists there removing hijabs, where wearing one is a legal requirement, have been shared tens of thousands of times online after a controversial Facebook campaign. When it was announced that Air France would begin flying into Tehran after an 8-year hiatus, a number of the female crew called for the right to opt out of working on the new route due to an internal memo asking them to wear a hijab when disembarking the plane in the Iranian capital. In support of their concerns, online movement My Stealthy Freedom asked all female visitors to Iran to remove their headscarves and send in photographs. The crew members have since won their battle. In the UK, an online vote on the name of a new vessel destined for polar research has been the unlikely subject of attention after one suggestion was a clear favourite. Royal Research Ship Boaty McBoatface was voted for tens of thousands of times. However, the choice was not binding, leaving Science Minister Jo Johnson to explain that they preferred a name that lasts longer than a social media news cycle. Good news now for a woman from Kenya who edited herself into a series of other people's holiday photographs on her Facebook page after being unable to afford a trip to Asia herself. Seve Gatz's photoshopped images were so unrealistic that they've been liked thousands of times, drawing the attention of a Nairobi businessman who raised enough money for her to go on holiday. Of course, people on social media couldn't help editing Seve into other images from around the world, using the hashtag #WhereIsSeveGatz And finally, could this be the future of travel? Hoverboards have long been dreamed of, so when this test ride of a new flyboard invention was released on YouTube earlier this month, millions of people watched it in action. It's some way off hitting the shops, so don't hold your breath just yet.
We love staying connected with you all online. And don't forget, we're on Facebook, Twitter and email. And you've been sending us some great stuff this month.
Especially via Twitter on Tuesdays, where you've been sending us your photos from around the world using the hashtag #TravelTuesday. Check out our Twitter and Facebook pages for loads of exclusive travel show content and top travel news stories to keep you up to date and inspired for your next world-class adventure.
Now let's look at the viral videos that have been clocking up the views this month.
Northern Norway, sparsely populated with beautiful characteristic fishing villages. It may be more well known to travellers for its northern lights, but in this video, Dennis Schmeltz captures the sprawling beauty of the Lofoten archipelago in a majestic aerial film. And finally, back to Iran, where Canadian resident Naveed Shahram's hyperlapse video of the country he was born in uncovered a less well-trodden traveller's path.
The reason I made the video, and it was very personal for me, was because there was never enough unique content coming out of Isfahan or Iran in general. It's a beautiful country. It was basically the capital of architecture, of art, and poetry, and it really saddened me that no one saw that.
And don't forget to check out our website for all the ways that you can get in touch, or if you've seen anything online that you think we should be looking at. See you next time.
Up next, we sent Rajan to trace the legacy left by a man who in life transformed the American presidency, but whose death spawned an entire industry of conspiracy theories.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Those were the words uttered by John F. Kennedy at his inauguration in 1961, before he took this chair in the Oval Office. Except this isn't the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. It's a very good replica in Dallas, Texas. Nonetheless, here at the George W. Bush Presidential Museum, you can get a sense of what it's like to be in the driving seat of a world superpower. But of course, Dallas will forever be associated with one particular president, and it's not George W. Tourists, conspiracy theorists, and American citizens, still coming to terms with a momentous and dark moment in US history, have been travelling here for more than half a century. This is where you walked?
Yeah.
And running, basically?
Yes,
yeah.
running.
Newsman Piers Allman was outside the book depository of Dealey Plaza when President John F. Kennedy was shot in November 1963. He ran to call the story in when he crossed paths with a certain Lee Harvey Oswald.
There was a guy standing in the doorway, and I said, "Where's the phone?" And he jerked his thumb and he said, "In there." And it never dawned on me that the man that I had encountered was, in fact, the assassin leaving the building. He was not in a hurry. He was not breathing hard. He seemed, very calm.
And now, 53 years later, people still travel from within the US and from abroad to understand how it could have happened. People are very willing to give you their theories as to why JFK was really assassinated. I've been given this piece of paper, for example, which lists the reasons. It just goes to show conspiracy theories are alive and kicking around these parts. A whole dark tourism industry has built up around this event, with everything from bus tours, walking tours, vintage cars, and a sixth-floor museum at the site where Lee Harvey Oswald fired his 3 shots.
And then they turned the corner and boom. One window down from the top.
Okay.
It actually is the 6th floor. On the 5th floor window, there were 3 guys literally hanging out of the window and looking up and pointing up.
And there's an X that marks the spot where he was when he was shot. In a sense, it's put Dallas on the map, that event.
I'm not sure Dallas will ever totally set aside the event that happened here. There will always be curiosity. There will always be, I think, a sense of wanting to be a part of the reality.
This is Big Jake. He weighs 2,200 pounds for 1 metric ton. Rides like a Cadillac.
But an hour down the road stands another Texan city called Fort Worth. It's here that a different side to the Kennedy story is now being told. Because the very morning before JFK was shot in Dallas, he was here in much happier circumstances, making an impromptu speech to thousands of excited spectators. And it's that more positive memory that is the subject of a new opera.
Mr. President, I'm lifting you from the floor and will carry you to a bed
who knew that this quick night in a Fort Worth hotel would end up being the last? So it wasn't special at all at that moment.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, the whole point of the opera is to sort of explore what sort of interpersonal relationships they might have discussed. I think that you can crawl even more, like it can be more like... I think this opera in many ways is an antidote to the fetishization of what happened in Dallas. And we can't always look at history looking backwards. I think it's really helpful to sort of see a hope and an optimism that can take place before a tragedy. So I think this opera really does speak to a richer interpretation of their lives and not sort of distilling it down to one tragic moment.
One of the freeing things about this piece in particular is that, we're not doing a documentary of these people. This evening that nobody really knows what transpired.
This is not a sad tale. This is a tale of the two of them and their strength and their union and their ability to overcome.
So, with the JFK opera being premiered at Fort Worth Opera Festival over half a century after his death, the story and myths around JFK continue to fascinate and look set to fuel the tourist economy in this part of the world for many years to come.
Well, sadly, that's all we've got for this week, but don't worry, because coming up next week... Carmen's in Japan finding out if she's got what it takes to become a ninja. And we're joining this man as he attempts to walk every single street in New York City. So make sure you join us for that if you can, and don't forget you can follow us on social media. All the details are on the bottom of the screen. But for now, from all of us here on London's Millennium Bridge, it's bye-bye.